What's up, guys? Today I'm finally back. It's been a while since I've done a ranking, but we're gonna do Rush today. So, I love Rush, bro. I freaking love Rush. So, Rush, my favorite era of Rush is their debut up to their album Hold Your Fire. After that, still some good songs and albums, but really don't really relate with those. So that's a disclaimer before the video starts. So, Rush has 19 albums, and approximately 18 of them have the classic lineup of Geddy Lee, Alex Lifeson, and Neil Peart. And like the first album, where drums were John Rutsey, who had left the band because he had some health issues. So, I'm gonna get the ranking started because it's probably gonna be a long video. So coming in number 19 is his album. 1996 is Test for Echo. So Test for Echo is my least favorite Rush album because it's got good songs like the title track and Driven are good, but then the rest of the album, it feels very just boring. Like I wasn't a very big fan of the album because I thought it was a little too long. It sounded a little like kind of like recycled. Songs like Carve Away the Stone and Virtuality wasn't a fan of. I think Neil's drumming wasn't as good on this album. He felt kind of limited. He kept doing the same drum groove and stuff. And although I love his drumming, this isn't an album where you really get to hear the drumming that you love. Tom Sawyer, or Cygnus X1, or something like Flat. So overall, Test for Echo is meh. It's not an album I'm a big fan of. So coming in number 18 is this album. 2002's Vapor Trails. This is actually the album that follows up Test for Echo. They had been on a hiatus for quite some time. I mean, because of the tragedies that happened in Neil's life. So they reconvened and they made a more heavier album. I love One Love Victory and I love Secret Touch and Freeze. These are all really great tracks. However, the rest of the album, it's kind of forgettable and it's kind of boring. The album runs well over an hour. And, with albums that run over an hour, it's gotta be good, otherwise you're not gonna really enjoy it. And with Vapor Trails, I enjoyed the album because it's a hard-hitting album. The difference is that these songs just aren't memorable. Besides, like I said, with Little Victory and Secret Touch, besides those two songs, this isn't really an album where it's classic after classic after classic. It just felt like a later stage album where they were just having fun in the studio. They make one or two good songs, and the rest of it's just kind of filler. I mean, the overall the album is better than Test for Echo, as it keeps you drawn in, while Test for Echo kind of ends up being background music. But Vapor Length's sheer length of an hour and 7 minutes kind of hurts my view of the album. And I like Vapor Trails. In fact, I like every Rush album, but it's just I don't hate or think any Rush album is bad, but it's just these Test for Echo and Vapor Trails. These are not albums that I'll be going back to So that's why I think Vapor Trails is number 18. So coming in at number 17 is this album. 2012's Clockwork Angels. So this is the final Rush album, but the other thing is that now that Rush is back with Gattaca Niles Behind the Kitty, you really don't know if it's the last album, but I think it is. So, Clockwork Orange, Clockwork Angels, Clockwork Orange, no, hell no, Clockwork Angels, this album is when my reviews of these albums will start being real positive. So, Clockwork Angels, this album has elements of progressive rock, but it's also got some heavier songs like Headlong Flight, which I really like. I really like that song. I like the song Caravan. The Garden is great. Seven Cities of Gold is very underrated, and I love the title track is really good. This is a exciting album that I that I like. I mean, the first time I heard it, really didn't care for it that much, but then upon re-listening, it's like I was missing out. I forgot how great these songs are, and just upon re-listening, I'm like, yeah, it's just a great album. And like I was saying before, like like the Vapor Trails and its length, it kind of gets boring. With this album, it's almost the same length as Vapor Trails, but in fact, it doesn't really feel that way. And if your album is over an hour and it doesn't feel like an hour, it's a pretty good thing. It's just the only thing is that I prefer other Rush albums because then you have songs like I think it's called BU to B or but to B, and then there's it's like those songs, and then Wish Them Well, Camis, these songs aren't great. They're filler. So yeah, I prefer a lot more Rush albums than this, but this is the first album on the list that it's an album that I'll probably go back to a little more. So coming in at number 16 is this album. 2007 Snakes and Arrows. So this is my favorite like later era Rush album. I mean, I count later era as like Test for Echo Depressing. So, or more like Vapor Trails. But yeah, Snakes and Arrows. Far Cry is a fantastic opening track. It's one of my favorite like underrated Rush tracks. And also like songs like The Main Monkey Business, Armor and Sword. Hope is a cool instrumental. Another thing, there are more instrumentals on this album, and they're really good instrumentals. Malignant Narcissism is good. There's another song I really like on this album called Spindrift, which is pretty heavy, and I like the song Bravest Face. These like this album, it feels like a classic Rush album, and that's what the producer, I can't pronounce his last name, but his first name is Nick. But yeah, he wanted Rush it to be a classic Rush album, and I think he did a really good job of making it sound like a classic Rush album. Because apart from their stuff after, I'd say Presto, the closest it got to be sounding like classic Rush was probably Snakes and Arrows. So I have a lot of respect for this album, and the reason it's this low in the ranking and is because. Like, once again, there's some filler on it, but another thing, I prefer a lot more Rush albums to this. Obviously, you're not going to see Snakes and Arrows in my top 10. So, yeah. So that's why Snakes and Arrows is number 16. So coming in number 15 is this album. 1993's Counterparts. So, Counterparts, the first time I heard it, I was not a fan. I thought that every song sounded the same. And apart from songs like Anime, Stick It Out, and Nobody's Hero, I thought the album was just boring and little too overproduced for the early 90s. Upon re-listening, appreciate it more. I think Anime is still great. And I also really love songs like Leave the Thing Alone, and Between Sun and Moon, Everyday Glory, and Double Agent. Like, these are underrated tracks. Cut to the Chase, I still really don't like that song. I really didn't care for it. But yeah, overall, this album, like I said, still think it's has a little bunch of filler on it. But overall, it's a good album. It's better than what most people say it is. So coming in at number 14 is this album. 1989's Presto. So this is the first album that was released by a label that's not Mercury. So Presto has a weird album cover. I'll just point that out first. Bunnies on a hill with a top hat. It's very goofy. When you go into the album, it's a really friggin' underrated album. I mean, like, Show Don't Tell, The Pass is amazing. Available Light, man. Red Tide, Superconductor is good. War Paint is good. Scars is good. Presto. Like, these are really great songs. The only song I don't really care for is Anagram for Mongo. It's a really interesting a weird song, you know. I didn't really like it. And then Hand Over Fist isn't. But like overall, I mean, Show Don't Tell is a really, really great song. The Past is a really, really great song. And like I said, Available Light again. Like those three songs are, in my opinion, I think they're classic Rush songs, especially Show Don't Tell. And like I said, this album is pretty good. It's just I prefer others to Presto, and they've got more classics. They got more albums that are just way better, in my opinion. So, coming in at number 13 is this album, 1991's Roll the Bones. So, Roll the Bones is my favorite of the albums post Hold Your Fire. So, Roll the Bones, it's got like this funk sensibility to it. It's not really progressive. I love songs like the title track, A Dreamline is great, Bravado is great, Where's My Thing is great, Ghost of a Chance, You Bet Your Life, Erotica, Heresy, The Big One. Like, I can tell you right now, this album is like near flawless. Face Up, I never really cared for. I know some people like Face Up, but I never really cared for Face Up. And, oh yeah, The Big Wheel. I meant to say, I'm not a big fan of The Big Wheel either, but like the songs, the really high highs on this album, like Roll the Bones, Bravado, and Dreamland. Those first three songs are great songs. Ghost of a Chance is a great song. Like, these are really, really great songs. Although Roll the Bones is that really dumb rap part, the song is still really good. And I think, you know, Roll the Bones is probably one of their more underrated albums. And I don't know if that's what people think, but I think that Roll the Bones is super underrated. It's one of Rush's late masterpieces, in my opinion. So coming in at number 12 is this album, 1987's Hold Your Fire. So this was their final album that was under that Mercury thing. So, you know, this album obviously does not have great production. I'll just get that out of the way right now. I don't think the production on this album is good. And it's kind of weird in songs like Taishan, which, I don't like that song. The song is just, that's like really, like, what were they thinking making this song? It's like such just a random song. However, Force 10 is a freaking fantastic song. Time Stands Still, same thing. Open Secret, Second Nature, Prime Mover, Mission, Lock and Key, Turn the Page. Like, these are really great songs. I love especially Force 10, Mission, Turn the Page. Like, these are great freaking songs. All of them sound great. It's just, like, the only reason this album isn't as good as it should be is because of the production. I think the production is just not good. It's super way too 80s sounding. The album ended up sounding more dated than Power Windows did. Power Windows sounds pretty dated, but you know, it's different. But like Hold Your Fire, I love Hold Your Fire. I think it's a great album, and it's just the only thing that I don't like about it is that the production sucks, and Taishan sucks too, because like, the fuck is Taishan? So, coming in at number 11 is this album, 1984's Grace Under Pressure. So Grace Under Pressure is a great album. It's when they started moving towards a more new wave sound, but they still retain their prog elements on songs like After Image and Red Sector A and Red Lenses, which is a really cool drum beat. I love songs like Distant Early Warning. That is such a great song. The Enemy Within is a great song. Between the Wheels is amazing. The Body Electric is super underrated. And like I said, well, the songs I mentioned before, After Image and Red Lenses, like, and Red Sector A, these are great songs. And then there's that song Kid Gloves too, which is pretty good. But yeah, overall, I love this album. The only reason it's number 11 is because I think there's albums better than Grace Under Pressure, but I love Grace Under Pressure so much. Just Early Warning and After Image are two songs that I go back to a lot for Rush, and you know, although the production isn't great because it is 1984, and they're still kind of the production is still becoming dated. It's still a great album with great songs. So coming in number 10 is this album. 1985's Power Windows. You know, this is the point of the list where I genuinely don't know what to put, where to put what. I freaking love Power Windows. You know, this album obviously production has dated, but it sounds amazing. Big Money, the songs like Big Money, Manhattan Project, and Marathon, and Mystic Rhythms are classics, absolute classic songs that just are just incredible to listen to. The only songs I don't care for on this album are Middletown Dreams and Motion Detector. I think they sound a little too 80s for me. You know, never really cared for them. The song Territories and Grand Design are great songs. I love Territories extended intro. I think it's a very underrated Rush song. But yeah, going back to Manhattan Project, that's one of my favorite Rush songs. It sounds incredible, that song. It's so freaking dated sounding, but it sounds incredible. And the Big Money is a fantastic opening track. You know, just all in all, Power Windows is a great Rush album. And, you know, it's like, why is it at 10? It's just, there's so many classic Rush albums that are just so great. I had to just put Power Windows at 10 because I couldn't put it any higher than 10. So coming in at number 9 is this album. 1975's Caress of Steel. So this is probably the most underrated Rush album in my opinion. So we're going way back. This is their third album. You know, this is the first album that they had that was strictly a progressive rock album. I mean, they had flirted with By Tour the Snow Dog on the last album, like Fly By Night, and you know they went full force on this. And you know, first time I heard Caress of Steel, wasn't a big fan of it, but then upon re-listening, always loved Bastille Day and Lakeside Park, which is a really great song. But it wasn't until recently when I started getting into the two long tracks, the Necromancer and the Fountain of Lamneth. The Necromancer is like, in my opinion, it's like one of their best songs. It is so heavy. It is so friggin' angry. And it's a song that, you know, it would be a dream to see Rush play that song live. You know, Alex's guitar on the Necromancer, the Under the Shadow section, when it gets like super fast, and Neil is going crazy on the drum. It's like incredible. And then Return to the Prince comes and they got that 12 string. It's such a freaking fantastic song. And you know, then side 2, Fountain of Lamneth. This is a whole side of music, 20 minutes. It's like just around there. The Fountain of Lamneth, the only issue I have with this song is that the sections, they kind of feel like, it feels like I'm listening to like separate pieces of music. And I love each piece of music except Dedicates and Arpets, which is the drum solo. That's really freaking weird. Like while Neil is going crazy, there's like these sections of just guitar with Geddy screaming these like work, no, earn, give. I suppose it's like kind of like an argument, and then somebody else listen with, and then it just cuts to silence. So it's like, you know, things like that. You know, it's kind of like disrupting the flow. But then like sections like No One at the Bridge with that really dark guitar riff, you know, Panacea, I think that is called. Cool. These sections are great, and you know, like the final section, the Fountain. I love when it just fades out and it goes. Like that's cool, and like, you know, like these sections are great, you know, but it's like it doesn't really work as a full cohesive song like 2112 or Cygnus X1 or Xanadu. Like it's very, it feels like imagine you took like you had like 6 songs and you kind of like made it kind of like work. And then you made it like some themes are like you hear them again, like these motifs, and then you just combine it all. But there's like no like transition into transition. It's not like Close to the Edge. It's just like that part's done, silence onto the next part. You know, it just, I love the Fountain of Lamneth. It's a little messy for me. Now the one song I didn't mention was I think I'm going bald for one reason is because I think the song is absolutely stupid. You know, it's it's ruins the album. Really ruins the album from being like a top 5 Rush album. It's like it's such a stupid song. It's like a stupid blues track about like it's like it's got some good. It's got a good riff, but it's just such a stupid song. You know, why you got to put that on the album? Like I think I'm going bald. And it's just. Besides that, Caress of Steel is severely underrated. You know, although the album put them in near financial ruin at the time, they were broken as shit after this came out because of how badly produced it was. So it was like wasn't an album that was massively successful, but fans love it. I think it's severely underrated. So coming in at number 8 is this album, the debut album, 1974's Rush. This is quite the angry Rush album. It's straightforward hard rock and blues. It's so good. This album. Opening track, Finding My Way. It's just such a great track. It's like this album is like Led Zeppelin almost. It's almost just like a very Led Zeppelin-y sounding album with some like Deep Purple influences and some progressive interlude and some like kind of like progressive elements in the song before and after, which is really good. And then you've got the great song Here Again, which is like slow hard rockin' track, and Take a Friend, Need Some Love. Like this is a great album. And then you go to side 2, like What You're Doing in the Mood, and then you finish it all off with Working Man. Dude, Working Man is freaking great. I love the main part of the song, but then the jam session is really where it goes. I love like Alex's guitar tone on this album. It's just so gritty and aggressive, and I like John Russey's drums on this album. His drumming isn't as flashy as Neil, obviously, but he does what's right for the song. And I love the album. It's a great debut album. It's got nearly no elements on what would come to Rush later on, but I mean they did keep the hard rock sound, but they just added more progressive elements to it. But it's just straightforward hard rock, and it's a great debut album. So coming in at number 7 is this album, 1975's Fly By Night. So Fly By Night is the second album and the first with Neil Peart on drums. So Fly By Night is stronger than the debut for one reason, and that's mainly because of Neil Peart's presence on the album. He completely changed their sound. They sound even more aggressive on the track Anthem. Come with those insane drums. I friggin' love Anthem. It's such an angry song. And then you've got other great songs like Beneath, Between, the Behind. The title track, Fly By Night, it's a classic song. And then In the End, it's a great closing track. And then the other underrated songs like Making Memories is good. And Rivendell, although it's a little boring, it's a very nice sounding song. And then the song Best I Can, never really cared for it, but it's pretty good. Now the main centerpiece of the album is the 8.5 minute, mainly instrumental Vitor and the Snow Dog, which is about a fight between Vitor and the Snow Dog, I guess. There's barely any lyrics in it, as most of the song or the battle is told through an instrumental section where this song goes all each and every friggin' direction. It is one of Rush's best songs. I friggin' love that little. And then it goes like one measure Beth, and then like the wind chimes and stuff. It's a great fucking song. It's one of my favorite Rush songs, and Vitor and the Snow Dog. Already, if you have a song like that on your album's already good. Just put that at that. But yeah, it's the first progressive Rush song easily. I love this album. Fly By Night. It was just the first album with the classic lineup, and it's just amazing. So, coming in at number 6 is this album, 1982's Signals. So Signals is follow-up to Moving Pictures. So you're like, how do we follow up Moving Pictures? You follow it up with quite possibly one of the greatest follow-ups to one of the greatest albums of all time. Signals is incredible. Subdivisions and Analog Cake back to back, absolute incredible 10 out of 10 tracks. Chemistry is really good. I mean, a little on the weaker side, but you know, still pretty good. Digital Man is fantastic. And Digital Man is one of the more underrated Rush songs. Same thing for The Weapon and Countdown is great. And then that leaves you with this song called New World Man, which, you know, sounds like the Police, and I love the Police, so of course I'm gonna love New World Man. I love New World Man, and then Losing It is pretty good, although it's got violin in it, which is cool. But you know, I mean, I don't really care for Losing It. I know some people really like Losing It, but you know, it's not really a song I really like gravitate towards. I gravitate towards like the main hits on this album, Digital Man. You know, this album is just full of just great instrumentation. You know, the guitar solo on Analog Kid is absolute insanity, and then Getty's synthesizers on this album are more expansive. You know, Alex kind of takes a back seat on this album because it's more an album to showcase Getty's synthesizer playing, which had become more prominent since the Farewell to the Kings when they started using synthesizers. But yeah, it's just a great fucking album. I love Signals. I love it so much. So coming in at number 5 is this album. 1976 is 2112. This is the album that threw them into the mainstream. Yeah. So 2112 is mainly the centerpiece of 2112 is the song 2112 that runs 20 minutes, and it's one of their best songs. It's in my top 3 Rush songs, and you know, obviously everyone knows Overture, Temples, and Steerings, but then you got the other parts like Presentation, Oracle of Dream, and Soliloquy, I don't know, and Grand Finale. But yeah, overall, this entire side of music is just phenomenal. I mean, everyone is going crazy. I love the little synth intro that they do, which is like done by Hugh Stein, not Getty. Getty didn't play keyboards until Farewell to the Kings, but you know, this album is just I can't say it more. It's just a classic album, and I love the tracks on side 2, like Passage to Bangkok, Twilight Zone, Tears, Something for Nothing, and Lessons. All of these songs are just amazing, quick, hard rockin' tracks, except Twilight Zone for like slightly more eerie. But yeah, no, this album is just a classic Rush album. It solidified them as popular in Canada. It kind of broke them through in the U.S. You know, this is the album for Rush. Do or Die. Their label wanted them to make more radio friendly stuff, and then you drop 2112, and then it's a hit. You know, it's just, this album is just classic. When you think of classic, you think of 2112. So yeah. Coming in at number 4 is this album, 1977's A Farewell to Kings. I'd say this is the first most overtly progressive album. You know, the title track, Closer to the Heart, are really freaking fantastic tracks. And Cygnus X1 Book 1, another fantastic track. And I love the 2 other songs on there, the Cinderella Man and Madrigal. These are great songs, but the main song I want to talk about, because I give the praise to all these songs, but the one that I give the utmost praise to is freaking Xanadu. Xanadu is my favorite Rush song. It's one of my favorite songs of all time. But Xanadu is a perfect 11 minutes. You know, the first time I heard it, I thought it was amazing. Now, I think Xanadu is even better than amazing. I think it's just a perfect song. Everything about Xanadu is great. Neil's drums on the song are amazing. Alex's guitar playing is just incredible, and Getty bass playing and synthesizer playing. The whole 11 minutes of Xanadu is just amazing. I love the song to death. I mean, It doesn't feel like 11 minutes. The amount of times I've heard it, it flows by super fast. I love Xanadu so much. It's just a fantastic song. And yeah, but like the other songs of the album, like Close to the Heart is iconic. You know, Farewell to Kings, it's just a very underrated song. I just love it so much. I love that. And then Neil's drumming is great. Everything about Farewell to Kings is great. It's just a great friggin' album. So coming in at number 3 is this album, 1978's Hemisphere. So you end Farewell to Kings with Cygnus X1 Book 1. So open up this album with Cygnus X1 Book 2, which is the centerpiece of the album. It's an 18-minute track. It is perfect. Cygnus X1 Book 2. It's one of the best Rush songs. I love Cygnus X1 Book 2. And so many great parts of Cygnus X1 Book 2 to talk about. I could go on for hours talking about this song. But you know, you gotta keep it short for the video. So I love Cygnus X1 Book 2, and I love the one main thing I love about the song is the first 3 minutes. It's just so much going on, but it's so amazing. And then you flip over the side and you get these 3 classics. Circumstances, a great 3 minutes of music. The Trees, which is a very iconic song, and then the 9.5 minute complicated, all over the place, progressive masterpiece, instrumental, La Villa Strangiato. Holy moly, that song is incredible. One of my favorite Rush songs, and overall, Hemispheres, one of the quintessential rock albums of the 1970s, and this was kind of like a turning point for Rush, because this was the last album that they had like an overtly long song or a sidelong epic like this. And, you know, there's only 4 songs in this album. I mean, I know Permanent Waves had 6, but like this had 4. So, you know, not many songs in here, but it's just so great, this album, and I love listening to Hemispheres. And yeah, so coming in at number 2 is this album. So number 2 and number 1, I flip-flop between Permanent Waves or Moving Pictures. You know, these albums are perfect. Sometimes I'm like, I prefer Permanent Waves. Some days I'm like, I prefer Moving Pictures. Today, I'm gonna say number 2 is Permanent Waves from 1980. So, first off, Spirit of Radio, opening track, iconic. I love everything about that song. The song is just peak. And then you go to Free Will, another great song. And then close out the side, Jacob's Ladder. What a friggin' fantastic song. Sprawling many time signatures and all that stuff, and I love it. And then you flip over the side to Entre Nous, which is a great song, and different strings. These are just great songs. And then you end off the album with Natural Science. What? Natural Science? Dude, Natural Science is so friggin' incredible. It's my second favorite Rush song. Everything about Natural Science is just, I can't even like say it. Like, everything is amazing about Natural Science. The first section is so eerie. Neil's drums are just incredible on that song. It's just, I love Natural Science. I love the whole 9 minutes. It's just, I can't speak enough about it. It's just, you just gotta listen to it for yourself. For 9 minutes of pure greatness. So number 1, obviously 1981's Moving Pictures. You know, Moving Pictures is just, it's just perfect. A perfect album with perfect songs. One of the best progressive rock albums of all time. One of the best albums, period, of any genre. This album is almost like a greatest hits. When your first side is Tom Sawyer, Red Barchetta, YYZ, and Limelight, you know you have made one of the greatest albums of all time. Opening track, Tom Sawyer. Everyone knows it. Everyone knows the incredible drum solo. It's an incredible song. Red Barchetta. Oh my God. Every single song on this album, like I said, was perfect. But Red Barchetta, you know, may be my favorite off the album. I love like just the whole 6 minutes of it is just incredible. And then you go into YYZ, which is just a fantastic instrumental with great drumming from Neil Peart, great bass playing from Geddy, and then great guitar work from Alex, and then rounding out side one with Limelight, like crazy. And then you go to side two, and this is like all like this is just the deep cut stuff. It's not even deep cuts. It is all classics. It's 11-minute camera eye, which is just so amazing. You know, I love the camera eye. Everything about the camera eye is great. And then you go to Witch Hunt, which is really weird and it's really good. And then you close it all out with Vital Signs. You know, this. You can just put this up. This is just an album for the ages, you know. And as soon as this video ends, I'm gonna put this on my turntable because it's moving pictures. And that will wrap up the Rush ranking. So sorry for the wait. You know, I usually do these once a week, and I forgot to do the Rush one. I was supposed to do twice a week, and I forgot to do the Rush one. So the next ranking will be Pink Floyd. Will be out, I think, either next Friday or potentially earlier in the week. Who knows? So, you know, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the ranking, and bye.